Hi, and thanks for logging on to the preview show delivered by FedEx Racing. Alongside Interactive producer Bill Kim, I'm Vince Cellini. 7 down, 3 to go in the chase here, Kimmer. We're coming off mayhem at Martinsville, cautions, paybacks, and now it's really up for grabs. As when the smoke cleared, Smoke was the man on top. Oh, that's right. That's right, Boo. Tony Stewart is now 8 points back after the victory in Martinsville, so it looks like a two-man race.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Carl Edwards has kind of been leading since the beginning, but here comes Tony Stewart with his 3 victories, and now he's 8 points back, and we've got 3 fantastic races upcoming this week at Texas. Phoenix is a wild card because of the repave. You never know what you're going to get at Homestead. This is what NASCAR was looking for. When they redid the points, they added the chase 7 years ago, this is what they wanted.
Well, we go from the tiny track at Martinsville, 1.5-mile quad oval in Texas. Tell me about this track and what can happen this week as we reach this this real stretch drive.
Yeah, this track, my friends, is fast. And we got a little bumpiness to it as well. It's got a little bit of character, but Texas Motor Speedway, you're going to see some very high speeds in the spring. First night race at Texas, Vince. So all of those notes that these teams acquired in the spring race, throw them away. They don't mean anything because we are racing in the afternoon in the first weekend in November. Sunshine, temperatures are supposed to be in the 70s. That's not even close to what they had in the night race in April. So this track is going to be completely different than what they saw. It's got a lot of speed in it, very intense race. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Matt Kenseth is hoping to take something out of what happened earlier in the race there. Kenseth was the winner back in spring, but he was derailed by Brian Vickers, who basically seemed to hit everybody at Martinsville. I think he got you and I coming. Yeah, he hit me on 10th Street. I bet we just brushed doors. Anyway, Kenseth talks about going back to the Lone Star State and having some confidence there. He'll need it.
Historically, it's been one of our best tracks, but you know, past success doesn't guarantee anything for future success. But certainly we've ran pretty well there. You know, our stuff at those style of tracks seems to run pretty good this year. Hopefully, when we go back, it'll be like that again, and we'll get the car off the truck and it'll get on the track fast. You know, that's what we've been able to do there lately, which makes it easier.
Well, Matt Kenseth now 36 points back, so he took a step back there, and I would imagine that he is among those guys you're talking about who really need to make a move this week. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I see this chase really breaking down into 4 categories. You got Edwards and Stewart. These two are kind of being cautiously aggressive right now. They're racing each other, so they can't just log laps, but at the same time, with 8 points separating them, they got to get some stuff done. They got to finish these races as high as they possibly can, so they can't just ride around in the back like you saw Carl Edwards do at Talladega. These guys will need to perform this week. Then you have the group that Kenseth is in, the next 3 below him, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Matt Kenseth. They're almost in desperation mode. They need a big finish this week. Assuming Edwards and Stewart post top 10s, those 3 have to get top 5s to stay in the hunt with 2 races to go. Then you fall down a little bit further to our 5-time defending champion, Jimmy Johnson and the Busch brothers. They are in must-win situations. They have to win this race to get as many points as possible. It's basically win or go home for those 3. And then the final 4, we'll see you next year. It's been fun, but you don't have a chance. You're doing some testing. You're doing that kind of stuff. We'll see you in 2012. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Newman.
I know it's around Halloween. You're like the Grim Reaper, though. You love to tap people and they disappear.
Yeah, they're gone, yes.
All right, let me ask you this. Of the top 2, who would you rather be? Would you rather be Carl Edwards, who's trying to stave off everyone, including Tony Stewart, or Tony Stewart, who's like, hey, Carl, guess what? I'm feeling really confident right now. I'm coming after you. Which of those 2?
You know, I think that both of them are kind of fitting where they're at right now. I think Carl Edwards is one who might thrive. And now, obviously, you want to be the leader. You know, I think that says a lot. When you are number 1 and people are coming after you, you want to be the leader. I think Carl Edwards likes that position. But you look at a guy like Tony Stewart, being 8 points back, just ready to pounce, that fits his personality to a T. What's the first thing he thought about in victory lane in Martinsville? It wasn't his 3rd victory in the chase. It was Carl Edwards, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
That's big for Tony Stewart, especially where he was before this chase when he said his team didn't even belong. Right. So I think both drivers are fitting into those roles kind of perfectly. It'd be interesting to see if they were flip-flopped, how they would react to where they're at.
I love the mind games that are going on there. All right, speaking of mind games and mind over matter, what has to happen this week setup-wise for drivers to run very well at Texas?
Yeah, first and foremost, like we talked about earlier, this track is fast. You've got to get out front. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Drivers lead a ton of laps at this track. Once you get out front, you stay out front. Clean air is everything. Listen to this, Vince. Spring race this year, Kenseth, we were talking about him earlier, led 169 of the 334 laps for that victory. 2010 chase race, Biffle led 224 laps, finished 5th. The 09 chase race, Kyle Busch led 232 of 333 laps. 08 chase race, Edwards wins. He leads 212 laps. Texas is known for long green flag runs. Once you're out front, you stay out front. That's important. That's point number one.
All right, so now we're going to get to our picks,
Yeah.
and I guess I lead this off?
Go ahead.
All right. Kenseth was 31st at Martinsville, and he kind of lost his cool there, uncharacteristically, as Vickers made him do that. But he has 2 wins there, and you mentioned he led more than half the laps earlier this year in Texas. 8 top 10 finishes, 3 runner-up finishes there. I think it's kind of a now or never situation for Kenseth in that second group that you talked about. So I was like, hey, he's got a history there. Why not? That's what I'll go with.
Yeah. And I'm going actually the opposite way of you. I'm going to take the points leader on this one. Edwards has 3 victories there, but most importantly at Texas, you got to keep cool. Remember last year we saw in the chase race, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon going fisticuffs on the track. They were all getting fired up. After 2 just intense races in Talladega and Martinsville, you got to stay cool at Texas. And I don't think a lot of these guys are going to have that mentality. I think you're going to see a lot of aggression out on the track. But one guy who doesn't really get aggressive and just kind of stays with himself, Carl Edwards, Mr. Zen. And so I'm going to go with Carl Edwards to win.
All right, speaking of possible fisticuffs, Tony Stewart suggested maybe a boxing ring at the end of a lot of these races now. And I think maybe one for you and Jason Scholin,
Fantasy.
our multimedia producer.
Oh, I can't wait.
You think we can set one up?
I would love to.
Why
He's a little
not?
bit taller than me.
Why
though.
not?
He makes
Hey,
me nervous.
3 more to go. Enjoy the race this weekend in Texas, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. For Bill Kim, I'm Vince Gioliti.